I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order on Thursday, February 12th at 7:02 PM. This is a hybrid meeting, it is being recorded. I have with me in the room from the Finance Committee, Gar Morris, Jean Hodges, Ian Golden, Maury Creighton, Peter Twining, and myself, Sarah Mellish. We have from the town, Andrea Mainville, the Finance Director, Tony Barletta, the Town Administrator, from DPW, Chuck.
Damn.
And Nate DeRosiers. From the Select Board, I have Ann Harrison, we also have in the room from the town, Mark Resnick, and we have from the public, Jody Morse. I just wanted to start off with a few comments to kind of set the tone for tonight's meeting. I don't wish to entertain any derogatory comments about boards, volunteers, or town employees. And I also don't wish to entertain any discussion regarding the parameters of the culvert or the rotunda projects, because they've had a lot of public input, and the select board, which is the executive branch, has approved those projects in the form they're in. And I don't want us to discuss any re-engineering of DPW projects. If people have comments about that sort of thing, they should be addressed to the select board. Okay? With that, we will start with the operations budget for DPW.
So Sarah, I did put a couple of slides together. I don't know if you want to just go through budget operating and then, we could do the slides or not, or if you prefer.
Are the slides regarding capital or operations?
They're just kind of a look back and a look forward, so it
That's fine.
encapsulates, usually when I come in, you guys want to know hey, how did that project last year that we approved money for go? And then, looking forward to what's in this year's capital, so. It's only a dozen slides, and we don't have to dwell on any of them really. I just wanted to show you guys the information, and
Okay,
then we can. The end of the slide is actually operating and then capital. So
fine, okay, yep.
I think I need to request share.
We'll see you on.
It didn't work. If it doesn't work, then we don't have to do it.
Wait a minute.
That's kind of a neat effect.
True.
Where is it all in?
Oh, yeah, I need to do it.
I thought we had. Okay.
I think I might be able to do it. Oh, here we go.
Oh, good. Great.
Alright, so like I said, this is a little bit of a look back on things that were approved over the last few years, and then looking forward and what we have going on. Similar topics to what we've always had. We have the pipeline roadway work. We had a lot of that last year. PFAS, wastewater treatment, culvert. We do have a facility planning committee now, which ties into some of the previous appropriations and looking forward. And then, like I mentioned at the end, I had the operating and capital stuff. On the pipeline and roadway front, last year we completed Pleasant, Forest, Mill, Old Essex Road. We also did some small stretches of paving on Forest Lane, Colburn, Upper Pine, and we did do a pretty significant project on the Beach Street sidewalk. What we have in the pipeline planning right now is Atwater at Upper School. You remember that was part of the CST special permit, as well as other initiatives that the town has for bike lanes and whatnot.
Is that delayed because of the delay in the CST, or is that unrelated to the CST?
They actually wrote the checks, so we have the checks, it's just
Okay.
now I'm, coordinating with them, so we're not trying to occupy the same place at the same time.
Yep.
So that's why it's 26 or 27, we'll see, depending on what their schedule looks
Yep.
like. Tappan and Bennett are the big pipeline work. Obviously, you guys know that Tappan is on this year's capital agenda. Bennett would be the following year, whenever appropriated. And then I've heard on previous meetings that I've been, keyed in on that, it's kind of like what's after that. So that, in my mind, it's Summer Street, but we can talk about that. This is the map that I've shown you guys since I've been here. So we're, 8 years in roughly. The blue is the work that we've done for water main. The highlighted in yellow over there is the vintage of the pipe. So everything that red that you see is still pre-1900, even though the stuff under the blue was red previously. Again, we won't dwell on it. I do have going out 25 or so years to try and get as much of that red pipe as possible. This is the spreadsheet that Nate and I keep. It might be hard to see. I'll send you guys the slides after, but in general, what we're looking at is, over the past 8 or so years, we've spent almost $12 million in, capital projects. That includes, some things that were grant funded, like the Forest Street CST project was MassWorks grant. We're roughly averaging about $400 a foot on pipeline rehabilitation and replacement costs. So I've just been kind of like, just for show and tell, apply that $400 a foot to the outstanding pipe. And you're looking at, we're still roughly 40 million out on that over whatever
Is that
time
just for the
horizon.
pipe, or is that for the whole?
That's just pipe, so it's not taking into account everything, but and like you've seen on Tappan and Bennett, like we're doing sewer and drain, so it jacks the price up. It's not $400 a foot for all that.
What percentage is that of the pipe effort? I mean, is that like a third or something? Is that?
It's about 25%. Maybe we're getting up to around 30, but so there's about 70% of that stuff left. And then we also have a roadway maintenance plan that we do. So this is, the stuff in the square box there is the stuff that's considered major rehabilitation when we look at it from an engineering perspective. The ones that we've crossed off, that's us making it through the list. The ones in green, that's Tappan and Bennett. So those are obviously bad roadways as well as pipeline work. The one that's in orange there and down below, those are the ones that we did kind of partial just paving last year. That's Colburn. That's Forest Lane. We didn't do any pipeline work on there. We just kind of did an overlay to take the curse off it a bit.
So where is Summer on that list? Is it in the box or outside? I'm afraid I can't read it.
Actually, Summer is state maintained, so we actually don't have that in our pavement management plan. But the pipe lot, we own the
Yes.
pipe underneath. So that's going to be the trick on that one is we have to coordinate with DOT. We will be responsible for restoration of our trench or pits, whatever we end up doing there. But so it'll be up to the state whether or not they keep going.
That's something that's 4 years away, 5 years away?
If we do Tappan this year, Bennett next year, Summer Street is pretty long street, even if we're just doing the pipeline, so we might want to break that up over a few years. But it's, it'll be a subject to other appropriation and capital needs,
I think
but it is easy to break that one up.
they paved Summer Street about 4 years ago, and they usually pave it every 10 to 15 years. So we probably want to do it like a couple of years before their next paving.
It was a little bit earlier than that. It wasn't quite 4 years ago because I was here when they did it, and they did like a chip and seal on that one.
Right.
And it will be something. The pipeline actually, believe it or not, is off the roadway in a lot of locations. So we might not need to, if we can do it with, just doing access bits and doing a clean line job. We might not be in the roadway all that much anyway. So I think we would be fine with doing whatever restoration.
Independent, okay.
But I think no matter what, if we're doing Tappan now, Bennett the year after, and maybe we're a year or two after that before we get to Summer Street, we wouldn't be in their moratorium or anything like that. We'd just be responsible for some sort of rehab.
Now, on all these major rehabilitations, do you include the sidewalks?
So like this past year, we did Pleasant Street. We did do the sidewalk on that one. There's a small section of sidewalk on Forest Street. We did that. On Old Essex Road, we did do the sidewalk on Old Essex Road as well. So we are looking for that. We'll get to it later in the capital projects, but, I foresee us, whether or not we do tap-in, assuming even if we do tap-in, we would like to have some additional funding so that we could do some more small overlays or sidewalk restoration elsewhere in town. So it wouldn't just be like we're spending all of our money just on Tappan Street. There's other projects that we could probably get done.
So, would you consider rolling the dice for another 15 years on Tappan? Because it needs to be resurfaced.
Let's not talk about TAP until we get to the capital projects, okay?
Oh, I thought we were just talking about it, but okay.
No, he's just doing.
I'll
an
cruise through these and
overview,
we'll
but-
get there, but,
Yeah,
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
So, looking at the numbers, looks like we got about another 30 years of pipe work if we're going at our current rate. How long does the pipe stuff last? Like,
so-
are we gonna be undoing, are we gonna be
50
redoing
years.
stuff? Well, that's what I'm hoping his answer is
so-
gonna be, but.
So believe it or not, that 70% or so, that's all the stuff that's already 100 years old or more.
Right.
So, in 30 years, all the stuff that's only 70 years old will now be 100 years old. So
Right.
we're not gonna be done in 30 years necessarily. But, that being said, I do anticipate that we will get 50 years or more out of the pipeline that we have been doing. We've been mostly focused on the unlined cast iron pipe that's 100 years old or more.
Right.
That's very thick pig cast iron, so that, it's got less sacrificial sidewall depth on that. When we get there's a lot of AC pipe in town that we'll replace somehow, some other way. And then, so a lot of our project, like I said, some of it's replacement, but some of it's also rehabilitation. So I expect we'll get 50 years out of that pipe. Maybe the stuff that we're replacing, we should anticipate 100 years, but, that's kind of general rule of thumb is you should be replacing 1% a year, and that puts you on a 100-year life cycle.
Okay, great.
hi, John.
I had mine at my other meeting.
Why didn't you bring it? The other big project that you guys all know about that we've talked about for years is the PFAS project. Nothing has really changed in terms of the regulations or compliance dates at this point. We have been forging along with the design at the Lincoln Street well, which that's the one that's most out of compliance. I guess it's not officially out of compliance until 2029, but we will be at that point if we don't implement the treatment. We did do all the pilot and bench scale testing last year. We are planning to do, we are out on the street for quals right now for Lincoln Street well. We anticipate getting the general bids back the week before town meeting. We did that on purpose, just in case something crazy happens, hopefully good, but, maybe, in either direction. So obviously it's a big number that, is gonna probably command a lot of attention. So we're trying to get as much information as we can ahead of town meeting. That being said, it's a very expensive project and prices have not tended to trend down since we've started this endeavor. This is a look at the 90% OPCC. Right now we're looking at 16.5 million all in. About 12 of that is the construction, about 4 of that is procuring things in clever ways so we can try and save contractor markups, as well as other oversight during construction, as well as the integration of the controls and systems to make sure that the new plant talks to the existing plant and we can operate it remotely and all of these types of things. Wastewater plant, I assume we'll get back to PFAS at the end as well, so we can dwell on that later. A couple of years ago, we did approve the $4 million upgrade. We have been working on the design for that. Also, when we hired that consultant, they went through all of our old plans and toured the plant. They came up with $8 million worth of project. So we've been working a lot on how can we get the most for our money. So you'll see here we have plant water system, clarifier, mechanical stuff. That's the big ticket item. Pump and valve replacements, electrical replacements. Those are kind of like what the $4 million will get us. Then we are waiting to hear back on a GAP grant for about $400,000, which will help us with energy and process improvements in the aeration system. So that's like 10% of what the town approved. So we're kind of waiting on that one. We also put in, we wanted to get some flood proofing on that project as well. We're waiting to hear back. We did apply for an Eco Stop CZM grant on that one. We think we're in a good position to get that. We also included town hall and the fire station for some of those same flood proofing improvements, which, flood stop barriers at the doors and, low lying entry points. And then again, long term, we're probably looking at a much bigger wall or some sort of retreat from the existing location for the wastewater plant. But that's not part of our current scope. This is just so you believe me, this is the $8 million estimate they gave me for the initial review of the plant. Central Street Culvert, again, just a quick update. We're awaiting the final permitting. We are awaiting funding confirmation. You all know about the BRIC grant. We have requested an extension. We were asked by MEMA to request the extension so we could keep the pressure on them to hopefully extend us. And then we did apply also, or we will next month, for an MVP grant. We hopefully will hear that July timeframe. But I think you've seen, we also anticipate a town article, so that will be kind of the backup for the backup on that one.
Where are we on the permitting? I know you're awaiting the final. Well, I
Yeah,
feel like we've heard this
Yeah,
quite a bit.
so the hang up is the Chapter 91, which unfortunately has to go first, and then all the other permits are downstream of that. They won't approve, Army Corps and those types of things until we have the Chapter 91 in hand. So we did receive, what do you call it, a decision on the appeal of the Chapter 91 that was in favor of the town. There still is, as of yesterday, I think, a 7 business day appeal window for that decision.
I noticed that property's on the market.
We'll see where that ends up, but
Senior senator.
another thing that we did to try and put the pressure on all these agencies and the other stakeholders is we did bid a 30B procurement for the precast arches, and we actually did receive a very good number back in that open bidding. So we plan on executing that contract for the precast arches. So assuming that we get the permitting and everything, we'll have the arches basically in town waiting for our contractor to install. So it will streamline that process even more once we get there.
So you want to,
Covered under brick.
We haven't decided which pot of money to dip into
Okay.
for that. I think our intent would be to try, and then that would be another thing that BRIC would pay for. Even if it goes away, they paid for it, so
Yep.
we're good.
Yep.
If not, we do have backup, like I have below here, we have DOT funds. That was a grant several years ago. We have the NOAA funds, and we do have some town appropriation outside of this coming town meeting.
so you want to risk buying the arches before we have the permits? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think I'm risking it. I'm buying them because we know we're going to do it eventually.
Right.
The permitting's not going to change the precast structure.
Is this out of a budget you're going to request for this year's budget or for?
No, like I said, the arches will be either paid for by BRIC before the BRIC expires.
Okay, so
In which
brick
case,
is going to, okay.
no big deal.
So it's not a risk of town funds?
Yeah, it'll be, obviously, we're looking to spend the grants before we spend town funds on all of our projects. So that's the intent.
Peter, did you have something?
No, I'm fine. I was just thinking about the permitting process, which
Okay.
I find slightly mystifying, but that's all right.
Run the club.
Welcome to DPW.
Yeah.
We can talk more about that.
Well, I know
The
Chapter
timeline
90
and all that when we come
precedes,
back to it.
that much I've learned over the years, but is that suppose you get 91, 6 months to get everything else? I'm trying to think of time frames, that's what I was.
The next one will be Army Corps. We have a meeting with them next week. So I think, they all know they're coming, whether it's Army Corps or Water Quality or
Yeah.
whatever the
But
other
is
ones
that
are.
6 month
Yeah.
period? Is that a year period?
Oh, no. It should be
much, hopefully a few months.
They're
but-
already submitted, they just can't approve or condition until Chapter 91 comes in.
They've done all their reviews, it's like literally just waiting for that Chapter 91 license to come through so they can put their stamp on their permit.
Okay, but I was just thinking, at one point, this project was, I think, critical, get done.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, you know, how much longer before it,
Well, yeah,
Can
let's wait and
manifest.
discuss that when we discuss the
Okay,
capital,
That might
okay?
be, yeah, it
Borrow,
might
borrow
be a
time.
Timing of the
fake
projects and everything,
Exactly.
we'll discuss
That's-
with capital.
okay.
Yeah, it remains
It's a
critical,
granite
it's just,
bridge. It's
it's just a matter of,
50 years.
you know, that construction window and having funding and permitting at a certain point ahead of that. We'll talk more about it when we come back.
Please, I'd like that.
Facility planning, so as I said, we do have a facility planning committee now, we've been meeting pretty regularly, we've done some tours, they did have input on the Lincoln Street well projects. We've been evaluating the School Street site where the black earth compost used to be. You remember in FY '25, we did have a pretty substantial appropriation for geotech survey and preliminary DPW
Yes.
layout when it was envisioned as just a DPW site, so that is done. So we spent that money and it, you know, we have done that work and it all, you know,
And
will
what
carry
was the
forward.
conclusion? What was the?
So the geotech was good, you know, we know now what's below the ground surface, but also we did geothermal evaluation, so that was fine. We have that information now for the next consultant or designer that, you know, we choose. The survey needed to be done no matter what. So we've done all that, they did wetland flagging, all those sorts of things. We did do preliminary layout, like I said. You know, we knew we could fit a DPW up there, but we now kind of programmed it a little bit.
Yep.
The next phase that we're in with the planning committee, as well as just, you know, we do have an appropriation for FY '26 in this current year that we haven't spent any of yet. But that would be for, you know, now we're looking at, can we make it some sort of a municipal campus, whether it be DPW, police and fire, or some combination, 2 out of 3. So that's, you know, ongoing. We haven't made any decisions. There'll be lots more public input. I'm sure we'll be back before you guys to talk about it. But that's what's ongoing. And then the hope is that we'll use the current FY '26 appropriation to go to an RFQ for an OPM to help facilitate that not only decision but you know, kind of get into the real design and
What's an OPM?
owner's project manager. Right. So
Andrea, what are the consequences if we don't move forward with that component?
with the,
OPM,
Required by
Required,
Mass
you
General
have-
Law.
what?
it's
It's
required.
required by Mass.
No,
Oh.
I'm just saying, if it were deferred,
Right.
what happens to that money that we appropriated? I don't know what we appropriated, whether it was cash or,
I, it depends on whether we wanna keep it, keep it going, or, you know,
Was it cash or was it borrowing? Or was
it was the
no, it's cash.
it was the exclusion. Oh no, I
Yeah.
changed that, didn't I?
what was it?
Yeah.
Never mind. I let Adrian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't believe it was the borrowing, it was from cash,
Yeah.
whether it was taxation or a capital exclusion, it
Yeah.
was not a borrowing authorization.
At one point, it was the capital decision, but I think they changed it because it went better to the school side of things. I
Yes,
thought.
yeah, we changed it to Essex Elementary.
So it could go back to free cash? Okay, just checking.
Right.
Was the geothermal did that check for radon? Or is that for energy source?
I'd have to look
For energy.
for
Okay.
it's for ground source heating. Cool.
Interesting. We do that.
And then under other, I didn't really put any, but you know, and we can talk about during capital, but you know, we do have other projects that we're helping oversee, whether it's the Sweeney Field, the Rotunda Harbor projects, dredging, any of those. If you want to talk about those, we can get into those during capital. So that leads us into kind of, you know, I just basically took a screenshot of the report that Andrea sent out earlier. Gets into the DPW operating from the general fund. I think I was asked about, you know, kind of what are we worried about for FY '27, and I think you guys have talked about it before, but it's definitely the trash hauling curbside program, because we are at the end of that contract, and we will be you know, in for some market adjustments, to say the least, on that one. Everything else remains
What's the
fairly flat.
DPW highway reduction in skilled labor?
Mm-hmm.
So we actually had a retirement, and this goes back several years ago. We had, and this happened in water as well as in the highway. We had you know, kind of upcoming retirements that we were planning ahead on. So we hired the lower entry level and didn't backfill the upper entry level, or not the upper entry, but the upper retirement. And so that's the difference basically is last year our operator retired and we had already hired in the previous fiscal budget the kind of replacement. So our numbers, even though they might go up or down basically one FTE a year, are kind of the same over the entire tenure I've been here.
And there's a reduction in the working out of classification.
Right. So that's all contract related, and we are in the midst of contract negotiation, but that's generally in the last contract we did change when somebody's working out of class, it's because somebody else is like on vacation or something like that, and so they move up into that role. And that's the assistant foreman now is paid at that at a higher rate, so there wasn't out of class.
Given that it's a reduction, is there a reduction in classifications contemplated?
No, it's just it's covered in their base salary, not in
The
the
working
working out of
foreman
Oh,
is doing.
it's in the base salary.
Where do we stand on that contract?
Ongoing.
Have any sense of how long ongoing is?
Well,
You aiming
we've
for July 1?
received proposals from all three.
Okay.
We've had some discussion with those on the non-financial changes. And we've basically been on hold on the financial impact stuff because of health insurance. Actually, today, the GIC was supposed to be voting on their plan structures. And our health insurance plan is actually is benchmarked to GIC. So Maya said after today, they'll be able to give us more details about possible plan structures and cost impacts of those structures. So we've been waiting until today, really. Hopefully we get that information in the next couple weeks, and then we can really start to look at the financial side of the negotiations.
So I have reached out. We have been trying to get the existing Hollow Republic to give us not only a contract but even a budgetary number.
Let's wait
'Cause-
till we get to sanitation. Sorry. Does anybody have any more questions on DPW highway?
I have a question, and it may be more for Andrea. I'm going back to your question, Sarah, about the skilled labor. And it looks like one budget year, we're 225,000. Next year, we're about 170. Then we're back up again the next year to 240. What are the actuals looking like on this? And is unspent fund basically just going to free cash? Okay.
It is, yes.
And didn't he say it was because he was pre-hiring for retirements? So we doubled up people in some of those
Yeah.
years?
So that's why it goes
Yes.
up and down basically by one full-time equivalent. We had
So do
in
you
highway we had 2 retirements.
So do you sort of anticipate this going forward as a technique?
As long as we can see it coming, like we do have still a few guys that are going to retire in the next 5
Okay.
years, but unless they both decide to retire at the same
Right.
year, I can't tell.
So Maury, it's, I always shoot for 8%, but wind up with 10. It's in the,
I'm always asking about rainwater rolling downhill, so.
What's the training curve to bring you're pre-hiring for retirements because you want to train people in advance. What type of timeline is attached to that?
Well, I mean, most of on the highway side, it's all kind of like on-the-job training, like
Yeah.
in town.
And how
So
long does it take? Elapsed time, I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have kind of cyclical duties, so I'd say,
Okay.
summer's different than winter, winter's different than
Yep.
spring.
Okay.
Fall's definitely different. But I think the bigger one is on the enterprise side. Water and sewer both have to have licenses, and you can't get people with licenses.
Yeah.
So we have to hire somebody and then get them the licenses. So that's the one that would take a full year.
Okay.
And the reduction in electricity is the reserve, a function of the reserve you set up?
Yes.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Dean.
The professional services, what is the specific skill we're looking, or is that just a plug number?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean. We have several different things that come up over the course of the year that we might hire out. Especially for the highway side of things, is actually sometimes professional services isn't like hiring a consultant, it's hiring police details for, different work that we are doing in the roadway that we don't want to, we still get billed for our police details, that's not coming out of Todd's budget.
So that's a catch-all number.
Stuff like that.
So like when,
I mean, I wouldn't call it catch-all numbers.
well, I mean, it's for a number of things, but like, so when, on 2025, when we budgeted 50 and we spent 72, was that like reconciled at the end of the year, or how did we over,
Well, I probably would have underrun some other line on that
okay.
level. So like, if we are, just for an example, if it's vehicle equipment and repairs, if we don't have 70 grand worth of repairs, we only have 50, but I'm over
Okay.
20 on professional services, then, it all comes out in the
If you
wash.
look at
It
the
also
total,
looked like they saved on overtime. The overtime was about 9,000 less than was budgeted. I mean, if you look at the actual for 25 versus the budgeted, the overall actual was less.
Right, and it's all, we
It's all
only
in
vote
those
for the
little
bottom
numbers.
line, so,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And I track pretty closely the, stuff like overtime and, where we're trending on certain things and, this time of year, it's, we get done what we need to get done, but come spring, if I need to put the brakes on certain things that we were otherwise gonna do, that's not gonna impact services, then we'll do it.
And what is standby?
Just not
As
the
a category?
cemeteries.
So somebody will carry a take-home phone, and so if,
Standby.
somebody hits a deer and we have to respond and,
Yes.
get it out of the way, then they get a 4-hour callback.
Any other questions on DPW?
Not here.
I just have the question for
Go ahead,
Andrea.
Grant. Go ahead.
We don't see the actuals in the salary. Are the
Right.
actuals the same as the budgeted?
Right, so on my ledger, I just track salaries and I do have a separate line for overtime.
Okay.
But we don't have separate account numbers in my world for the standby out of class and things like that.
So we can assume that the actual was the same as the budgeted for these prior years.
Right, if you look at the actual total on the line, I did put the total, so for FY '25, budgeted is 1,073,000, but actual was 1,059,000.
Okay.
So I don't have it specifically broke out for each line, but you can see what the difference is there.
Anything else, Doc?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve the DPW highway budget in the amount of 1,551,377?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any more discussion?
but the,
Oh, sorry, that's the wrong number.
It's 1548377, right?
Motion to approve the DPW budget in the amount of 1,548,377.
Yeah, exactly.
Withdrawing the prior motion.
Second.
Any more discussion? Vote, Gar,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes. That's why we have to do them individually. Next is snow removal.
Hot topic right now.
I
guess how much that first storm cost.
how much did it cost?
76,000.
I'm hoping that maybe we'll have money left in the FinCom reserve at the end of this year to be able to allocate some to snow removal. But the excess is rolled over to next year.
Right.
And we expect next year to have a little more money than this year, though I think I've spent that little more money about 10 times.
So should we recommend a little bit more for
No, I
FY?
think we want to stay the course of doing with our average. I think that
Okay.
next year we'll have to increase it because the average will go up.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Or the
what,
year after
and
that.
to what Chuck was just speaking about, you know, as far as things that he might have planned for the spring, that he might pump the brakes on. What we start doing this time of year is looking at those projected end of year totals on the expense side. And maybe there's accounts like the reserve fund that, or, you know, that we expect to have funds in it. So we'll start to kind of see if we're gonna have enough to shift at the end of the year to cover the over expenses in something like snow removal. And if not, you know, we'll talk to Chuck and other departments about needing to maybe pause on some projects that they were hoping to do in the spring to try to make sure we end the year at balance. So we do that process over the next couple months.
So I have a motion to approve the,
I have a question on snow, snow removal.
yes.
Yeah. I can only guess that the equipment takes a hell of a beating with snow. It strikes me that $10,000 in that category must be on the light side, no?
Yeah, true. Very, very much true, especially this year.
Maybe there's a strategy here I'm not aware of, but it just strikes me that,
Well, like I said, we do have in the operating budget, we do have vehicle repair and maintenance.
I'm sure you do.
And so, you know, like Tony said, it's a.
But given the
it'll be a
flexibility
balance.
of this account and the way it's handled, I didn't know whether that should be a more real figure. I mean,
Well, I think that our theory behind the snow removal account was to base it on the prior, 5-year
years.
average.
right,
Because it's the only budget we're allowed to exceed at the end of the year. And we went through many years where we were over budgeting. So we don't see this as realistic for any given year. Some years it will run high and some years it will run low. And this year, 26 is running very low.
well, it was the flexibility that I was focusing on and the fact that I could only guess that the vehicles, 10,000 is low.
I mean, that first storm, we lost 3, you know, both sidewalk tractors at the lake plow. So that was a big deal.
I saw some pickup truck being picked up at the gas station by
That was-
Bally's
That
recently.
was mine.
Oh!
Seems like
Sarah-
all the post office trucks are on trailers too.
It's not,
so,
I mean, if you look at 2 of the past 3 years, I mean, that's not the 3-year average, that 10,000.
It's a 5-year average, which is 135, 478.
Might be fine.
Oh, I was looking at just the
145.
equipment repairs, like individual.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're just
so
doing the
it's
total
overall.
budget, yeah.
I mean, I think our strategy go forward has always been, we average over 5 years. Andrea tells us what the state allows, and then we set the number right around there. And then if we go high, we make it up. So that way we're not just over budgeting.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
went
it's
through a
gotta be
number of
done.
years when we were over budgeting
Right,
consistently.
Yeah.
yeah, and the
Okay,
Department
well,
of Revenue is like very on top of this particular budget, like I have to submit a separate report for the snow and ice, because they wanna make sure that like, you're not overtaxing taxpayers either, you know, too, so it can be hard to bump this up. So if we have, unless we
The
keep getting
state
these,
guidelines make it hard to do that.
right,
I was just thinking that because of the flexibility in this account, thought it'd be more real. That would mean a substantial increase, you're right. And I don't want to over budget, but at the same time, it's deeply under budgeted, so,
Just for this year, not
Right.
necessarily every year. And I think
well, because
that's,
the amount of snow varies a great deal.
Because I think the amount of hired equipment varies based on how
I see.
large the storms are. So if they
Okay,
have less hired equipment, they have more for maintenance.
good luck.
Any more discussion on this budget? Do I have a motion to approve the snow removal budget in the amount of $145,000?
So moved.
Ron moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Dean seconds. Any more discussion? Take a vote, Clyde,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Laurie,
Yes.
Peter,
No,
and Sarah votes yes. Street lighting.
Yep, so we continue on doing replacements of existing heads and poles throughout tracking down repairs. I think that's the big thing we've seen over the last couple of years is a lot of our lights are direct burial cable, so it's just a wire in the ground. When that breaks, it's very hard to locate and repair. Many times it requires us to basically install a conduit and then pull new wire. So, you know, some of the streetlights that are currently out are bigger repairs and like on bridge require DOT access as well. So the plan has really been, we've been doing a spring and fall kind of bulk order of replacement poles and heads, and then, you know, going out and installing and replacing as we have, you know, to maximize budget.
So are we spending more than we did when National Grid owned the lights?
Yeah, just because I think
So
we
this big
inherited.
savings didn't come to fruition.
Only on electricity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on electricity, we just, because we bought the system, we bought an old system that is now needing to be replaced, unfortunately.
And what percentage are we now accomplished in replacing the old system?
I don't have that number, but, so it's mostly on the post tops, which we have about 100 in town. We've probably done 25% of those to date.
Can we have some input on the types of light poles? Because the ones that you have with the new LEDs, the glare is like, I don't know if it's my eyes getting older, but they seem like they're offensive. I know people like light.
They're adjustable,
The
aren't they?
heads. But the old style poles that we used to have, there's a couple over the park, they just point down and
I
they
like
spotlight.
these.
Okay,
I
well,
like these. I have
I don't know
one-
if there's consideration before you order a bunch of them, that if anyone wants to,
I have one right outside my bedroom. It doesn't bother me at all.
well, we're fine
Across the
with you.
street, granted. And maybe I'm up higher than the head. That
I
could
know you
be.
can dim them if you want, right? You can request to have them dim.
Yeah, correct,
Right.
yeah.
But I was just wondering the whole design with the outdoor light pollution thing and everything.
That's another meeting, Dean.
Yeah.
But to speak to that, we have selected, you know, when we did the replacements and what the lights that we do select, we do select a warm color
Right.
that minimizes that really obtrusive, like
white,
bright
right.
white. The LED does tend to skew that, you know, so it is. So we have selected the lowest, the warmest color that we can for it.
So for fixing these, have you guys been mostly doing this yourselves and calling in an electrician and doing conduit?
Yeah.
I guess my question is, other communities must be wrestling with this. Is there somebody, you know, replacelightpoles.com that can come in and just like take this off your plate and get it done?
I mean, we have worked with the other municipal light towns and have had them come in and do some work. You know, some we handle ourselves if we can do the excavation, do the light base, and then we'll have our electrician come in and wire it. It's kind of a mixed bag depending on locations and, you know, bandwidth for our guys. If we have, you know, the availability, that's the preference because it doesn't cost us.
Right.
So.
It also depends on the lights that you're dealing with, and as you mentioned.
Right.
The underground direct bury compared to, you know, just a head that's on a telephone pole that's owned by the utility company, that's easy to replace that head.
Right.
But when you own the entire pole, head, and the underground, you know, wire, and there's a lot of coordination that has to happen with National Grid there, that really slows us down, that we're not allowed to touch without them being a part of that process, so, and it's not very high on their list either, so.
They've already made their money on us.
Yeah.
And is this totally a replacement focus as opposed to an expansion? Are we adding any lights?
We typically don't have an added lights. Yeah, so it's just.
Just replacement,
Yeah, just
modernization?
Yeah.
Is that a need of ours to consider?
Occasionally I get requests.
'Cause I've
It's
heard a
not
few of
very
those
frequent.
requests. I don't know how, I mean, Is that part of the focus?
I mean, it hasn't, just because like, once you start to get into the cost of, that conduit to extend them, especially if there's not any adjacent, like, if they're adjacent, then it's probably not a request, it's usually on a, I've had requests for Colburn Road, that would be a very expensive endeavor to run
Yeah.
lights
So we
down
try
there.
and like,
So it's like a balancing,
if, like, for example, Tappan, Bennett, like, at that point, when we're doing full depth roadway reconstruction and all utilities, like, we may elect to add one or two.
Okay.
But it'll be.
Within the
it'll be in the scope
existing
of a
system.
$4 million project, we're not going out to Colburn and just saying, here's a couple lights, like, that's just, that wouldn't be cost effective. So we do kind of set expectations when we get those calls, but sometimes we get those calls.
We might want a policy on like whether we have it at a crosswalk or street corner, is required, but other than that, it's kind of optional after that, but anyway. There might be some.
It's also hard to justify expanding or adding when we have a backlog of repair.
Right.
Any more discussion on street lighting? Do I have a motion to approve the street lighting budget in the amount of $55,000?
You do. And so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Dean seconds. Any more discussion? Vote, Carl,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Whoops, I went backwards. Sanitation. We do
So
not
this
yet.
is the
Yeah.
big wild card until tomorrow. I'll get a budget number. They said by the end of the month, we'll have a proposal. That's from our existing vendor, Republic.
Yeah.
We're all near and dear to our heart after the strike this summer. They did take over the contract from JRM. JRM 5 years ago when we bid the project was the low bidder. But JRM kept their pricing flat for the entire 5 years and Republic honored that. So I'm sure they're gonna be looking to not only increase over our current year, but also, get back those 5 years of escalation. once we-
And where, is the automated collection system reflected in any way in these numbers?
So if we go with Republic, they're gonna require that we go to automated. They'll give us 1 year to get there, so we don't have to do it on July 1, but it will be what we do.
So it's a next
over the course
year
of 12 months.
item.
But that's not, atypical, like, that's the industry is going that way.
Okay.
Um,
Can you give me some sense of what that magnitude of that replacement number would be?
for the barrels.
Yeah, yes, I think that's what you're saying here.
Yeah, I think it would be in the ballpark of $100,000
Ah.
for purchasing them outright. There are grants and stuff that are available, and we do have RDP money, so that's money that we get from DEP based on how good we recycle
I
over
see.
the course of the year. So we have some, different funding that will offset, but it'll be buried in the cost of the contract.
No, I understand that. I was just looking for what that additional amount,
Right.
that's kind of the magnitude you're thinking about.
Yeah, that's to purchase the stuff. We're looking at escalation just for.
Oh, no, I got it. There's a difference
How many-
here, but
How
a
many
year.
How many residences do we collect from?
So the curbside program is town-wide, and that's about
2,000?
2,000. That's a number I keep in my back pocket. It's probably more like 2,200 or something like that.
Yeah.
So for $100,000, it would be about $50 per residence, is that?
That's cheap.
That is cheap. Boy, this is surprising.
The arithmetic is right.
I bought one for
That's
$150,
probably,
Is that what
the
you did?
recycling bin.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
probably
that might be
just
just
one of
Yeah.
the barrels, but we're talking, it would be recycling and trash. So
So 2 barrels.
probably be both, yep,
Right.
but hopefully, depending on the type of barrels you go with, you could have them fully funded by grants.
Oh,
You could also finance them through your contract with your hauler. So there's different ways to do it. It's extremely, there's a lot to that discussion, and we haven't gotten into it yet. I did do it in my last town on the trash, on the recycling side, so familiar with it. Hopefully, we get this 1 year next year the time to really look at what our options are.
And the other is the eccentricities of our streetscape and whether or not an automated truck can get to all of these places
Yeah,
and so forth. I mean,
So Republic or whoever we end up contracting with, will do that analysis, and they'll either have automated trucks available for our schedule, or they will go out and purchase trucks that make sense for their schedule. We had some narrow streets in Nahat, and they actually brought in a smaller, like a mini dump truck, trash truck that
Okay.
had the automated collection hand on it.
So they'll own it.
Or they'll adjust their contract for the number of households that they need two guys to collect on.
Just dump the barrels.
Yeah.
Okay.
So have you requested bids from any other entities?
Not yet.
You're waiting to see what Republic gives you?
Are we still looking at 2-day collection if it goes automated?
I believe so. That's the instructions I gave them, so that they know that, but.
I've been behind pickup on my commute to Cambridge, and the ones that are automated go much more quickly.
So, yeah, potentially they have to do that analysis, but that's not something I would dictate to them.
And is it recycling also that it goes automated?
Yeah, they want both.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't want a second person on the truck.
Makes sense.
So Chuck, this budget and its new numbers reflects a system the way we now have.
It's just.
So actually,
Well, we make this possibly year's transition.
so I didn't just make this number up. I did look at, we have from DEP a list of haulers from, basically all over the state. So I basically took those numbers and looked for communities similar to ours, size and, number of households, and basically tried to make a best guess.
But it's still a 2-day collection, it's still,
So like the closest one to us is Topsfield, they're 3-day, but so I kind of did the math and.
and there's still bags and my bags and
No.
all of that.
No bags.
But that's in the year's transition, I'm asking.
Oh.
But this is a budget for the year's transition.
Yeah.
So it's not a change in the system, that's all I'm trying to ask.
It
Right.
doesn't go automated as of July 1, 20.
Right, it won't go automated July 1.
When we still continue to do what we do
I
today.
mean, we could elect to do that. Like, I think
No.
if they're giving us a year to
Yes,
get there, that first year is gonna be more expensive based on the fact that we're not doing automated. Because they have 2 people on the truck.
yes,
They're,
yes.
so if we could commit to saying we will do it July 1, we might get a slightly better price.
No, it's not the question. This is the 2 people on the truck price.
This is, I
This is
think
my best
that,
guess based on separate
I think-
community analysis.
I think we're gonna have to put a hold on this budget, because this isn't a true budget number.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm happy to have it held. I was just trying to get an idea, in that year, you have today's system, but so today's number.
This is just looking at other community contracts and trying to apply that percentage comparison to our most recent contract year. So this doesn't factor in change in plan, structure.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
This is not a change in structure plan.
No, this is a best guess.
Yep.
But hopefully we have a closer number to from Republic this week, tomorrow.
Well, I'm picking up on the trend, like between 24 and 25. If the rates were the same, then the tonnage must have gone down quite a bit. Is that a trend that you're seeing continue, or?
I think this might be the dumpster.
Yeah, that's the stuff they didn't collect.
That's the stuff they didn't collect one year.
So, okay,
There's kind of a placeholder within the budget for
Gotcha.
dumpster.
so that, okay. So it's really
I
gonna
mean,
be
they
hard.
collected it, they didn't charge us.
Right.
Okay.
Got a question?
Changing vendor.
Go ahead, John.
Is the first year gonna be more expensive because you got the barrels in there? But starting the second year, you don't have the barrels in there.
So like all this is yet to be determined because
Right.
we could elect, I mean, they're gonna give us a whole bunch of different models. And so one could be that it's straight, just 2 guys on the truck for the first year, but by July 1 of the following year, we're 100% automated. It's more likely that it'll be, over a series of months that we'll get there. So we'll have different pricing basically per month that we're on the automated than as we transition to the automated.
And I think what people have to remember is we're gonna lose over 300,000 in revenue from the sale of the orange bags.
And so I would say
So
that
it's
that
not
is
just the
still
cost of
yet to
the,
be determined as well, is like, how do we
How
adjust
we
for
replace
that?
that?
yeah,
So like there's gonna be several different elements of this number that need to be accounted for based on the proposals that we get from Republic. And so that's all gonna have to be taken into account.
I just don't know whether
That's
they spread the
30,000.
cost of
Is that-
barrels over the life of the contract.
No, so we definitely could. They will do that 100%.
Whatever.
Or we can say, we have enough grant funding, or we can get our own grant. So we're not gonna, pay Republic for that privilege of them selling us barrels. We'll just get the grant and go that direction. So it's completely separate.
and
Is this subject to open bidding or is?
Doesn't have to.
It's not required, you're not required to bid, collection for trash.
A lot of towns still do it themselves. DPW. I think,
We talked a little bit about this when we had our joint meeting with the select board. We'll talk a lot more about it in the upcoming year. There could be a fee element in this new structure. A lot of those details are
yeah,
to be
and
figured
I
out.
saw that in Chuck's memo, and, my opinion is we should not charge a fee and nickel and dime people, particularly because real estate taxes are deductible at the federal levels and fees are not. So it would cost people a lot more to pay a fee to cover the same cost than it would cost them to pay in real estate taxes if they get a federal deduction.
Right, so they're not getting a deduction on what they pay for bags today.
Yeah, but bags you're only paying for the amount of trash you have, whereas under the new system, everyone's gonna be paying the same amount.
Well,
And so if I have trash once a month, that's not gonna be reflected in the new system.
so again, before you
What
make,
I'm saying.
before we get it too far ahead.
Yeah.
We still have the transfer station, so there still may be a need for bags. You may get your trash barrel and recycling barrel for free through, we get it through the grant or something like that. And then if you wanted a second barrel, you might have to pay a fee for that. So there's a lot of different ways to structure it. And it's gonna be a long discussion when we get there.
I think the sustainability committee has a lot to put into it too. They have a lot of input about discouraging.
And then the other cost saving, so you have cost savings with less labor by doing automated collection, but the other cost savings on the tonnage side. So especially where sustainability committee comes in is finding ways to really push composting, because that's the heaviest material in the waste stream. So if we can shift to a free service that we get as residents here, and push composting, it'll also reduce our total cost at the end of the year.
I'd like to make it totally free and just have the residents bring the compost to the site instead of having them collect it.
Well,
It seems
Again-
costly for the
Again,
amount
a
that
lot
they're
of
doing.
details to be discussed over the next year.
so I'm suggesting that we not vote on this part of the budget since we don't have a solid number for the collection and disposal. Do people agree with that?
Sounds right, very much so.
And we should have it shortly.
Shortly,
Have
which
something.
would be a couple of weeks or,
I
So
think
they
there's,
committed to a budget number by tomorrow and a proposal by the end of the month.
yeah, so we should.
Good.
We're, gonna do catch-up on budgets like on March 5th.
25% seems like a good placeholder so, for now.
Okay. Facilities.
So I think the big one is moving library into our, under DPW. I'd say the big thing we did last year was, we've been having a hard time controlling HVAC preventative maintenance costs, through firms. So we went out and hired an HVAC tech to be part-time on call for the town. So he's been able to take over all of the servicing, preventative maintenance tasks for all of our buildings, which has been a huge savings comparatively to what we were seeing prior. And he's also been able to do some installs on new systems, the heat pump system at Seaside One. We've also done one at the wastewater treatment plant. We have one planned for the fire department, for the new bunk rooms. And then when we do the ADA bathroom at the library, and we have to relocate Cynthia office upstairs, we're gonna have to renew that system as well. So he'll be, doing all of that work. So it's been a huge, I think, plus for our
I would say
budgets on that side.
It might be single-handedly the biggest thing we've done since we've had facility. Like, this is not a joke. Like, we have done more work and gotten more done by doing this approach than I could have ever imagined, and that we wouldn't have been able to do by going out to bid and doing mass general bidding and procurement laws. So
this is an in-house person?
In-house,
so,
yeah.
who's part-time, who has a full-time job, who just is doing it as a side hustle, and is great. Very responsive, very professional, very good.
So why are the facility salaries increasing so much?
Well, that's his
Because of
salary.
that.
Yeah,
Because of that.
Because of that.
It was
So we
never-
didn't
it was
have that
never-
budgeted in last year's budget.
Okay.
So what we've been doing to bridge the year is we've been tracking his time, and like Nate said, we've been doing work at the wastewater plant, we've been doing work at the fire station. So we've been basically planning a transfer within the lines on those various items. But next year, we would hope to have it be in the facilities budget.
What's the status of the town hall generator? It seems to me that was approved a long time ago, and then I saw that town hall had to close when they lost electricity, so that said to me, oh, I guess we don't have a new generator yet.
The generator actually works.
The generator is just undersized. When we really got into everything that was be required to fully, have this building on and elevate it to above the floodplain, like we did at the fire department, the budget wasn't there. So that's where we've looked into utilizing the wastewater treatment plant generator and basically doing that as a campus generator, and trying to tie in this building off of that one.
Does it have the capacity, I mean?
Yeah, the wastewater treatment plant one does, yeah.
That's what I suggested with the library one too, because it could.
Yeah, and so that was something we analyzed, and the cost benefit, so it was actually more in materials to do the ductwork and the conduit up to the library than it was for the actual cost of the library generator. Because we had
This
bids
one's
and had it.
different.
Yeah, this one's just, we had to go to a 150 kW generator. I think we have like a 40 out there right now, and that's just to support because we have the full electric, the
The
heat
new
pumps.
heating system, yeah.
It has to be so oversized to meet peak demand. And then it was the platform that we were gonna put it on to raise it 5 feet,
But,
It
but for a
was-
power outage, don't you wanna just have certain essential facilities powered? I mean, you don't have to have the whole building going.
Well,
So, I mean-
if you want employees to work,
Well, I mean,
and we
Well,
pay,
That's what it
most
is.
highway
right, that was
systems
the intent.
have a 24-hour that you need and
we paid employees for 24 hours when they weren't working.
Plus it's the police station, so
Right.
that's the bigger driver.
Yeah, that is a big problem.
So, what's the status of the money we previously appropriated? It's so long ago, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
It's probably 2 years, but who knows?
Nate, what fuel does it operate on, the town hall?
Diesel,
Oh, interesting.
As is the typical.
yeah.
That-
yeah.
what's their
Is
diesel?
it?
Gas is
Is
the way
that
to
a natural
go.
gas? Huh.
Yeah, well, natural gas is considered,
Natural gas is what we did at the fire station and the library.
Yeah.
It was library propane.
And how many days could it run?
Storage.
How much diesel was there?
This one, I believe we get 72 hours. If it's in the summer, it can go longer. If it's winter, not quite as long, but
And over at the,
wastewater plant,
yes,
I don't know that one off the top of my head, but that's a big tank.
I would think it'd have to be above ground too, right?
Hmm.
Is it below ground or above ground?
The tank is like integrated into the enclosure that you see.
Wow, I would think it would
It's a
have
belly-
to
it's
be.
belly.
It's a belly tank.
Wow.
Did you find anything, Andrea?
Yes, we have 79,000 outstanding right now.
Doesn't go very far.
That's unspent?
And when was that appropriated?
100,000 was appropriated in FY '23.
I thought it was a long time ago.
So we spent $60,000 on a generator that's a little, not as big as we'd like it to be. Is that right?
What do you mean?
No,
Maybe I'm
No, we haven't.
we've only
we
spent
We haven't
about
replaced
20,000.
it.
Oh, we haven't replaced it, okay. Okay,
But we're looking at it, they're looking at a
We spent
different
21
strategy.
on design and
okay.
whatnot,
Thank you.
Permitting,
permitting.
the study.
Is it big enough to pick up the senior center?
The wastewater treatment plant, yeah, we also looked at that.
That was part of the
That-
campus.
Yeah,
Okay, just wanted,
And that one does need to be replaced too, so we're keeping that in mind.
And the wastewater's so the existing generator has a capacity to do these other things.
yeah.
So the existing size, and that's kind of a function of the fact that the stuff at the treatment plant's been so oversized. And part of our project is actually right-sizing that stuff
Got it.
and making it more efficient. So like there's several levers that we pulled at the wastewater plant so that the existing one is kind of that much bigger than it needs to be.
Got it.
But by being that much bigger than it needs to be, it can also serve senior center and town hall.
got it.
Great.
And is there a timeline attached to that?
What do you want to pay for it?
Well,
It's a
We
funding.
got 79,000
Well, we already paid
That's
for
that's a big one. It's gonna be $750,000 probably.
to connect it?
No, well.
I'm talking
Connect it,
connected.
yeah, to connect it in, I think we're potentially looking at this spring, if we can do the,
Okay,
basically
But I was
use
talking about the
our,
replacement of the wastewater one.
Could you
The
make
wastewater one, we can do that work, but it still needs to be replaced sooner rather than later.
We have the 3.5 million process water, can we make it part of that? And just
We already heard
It's not-
that they don't
it's
have as
not
much
gonna-
as they.
not gonna cover
that scope.
for the process water?
Yes.
So it's more than just process water, it's like.
Well, that was the main thing that we're trying to fix because of the leak.
Right, but we have $8
That's
million
what
worth of.
justified it was more important to fix that than the meters.
Please stop talking, that's just not, that's just not.
So just to understand this, we have this generator sitting down here that's too small. Is the plan to basically abandon that, wire into the sewage treatment? And when do we really hope to get this done? I mean, I'm concerned when you've got a building full of employees trying to work and it's dark. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, particularly if we have money in hand for 4 years, 5 years plus. So
So I think that's what we were saying is that we can tie it in.
he said
Yeah.
23, which tells me
Yes.
22. 2022 and we're 2026, I think
Oh,
that's
thank
4. Sorry. Just backing you up.
So we
But-
think we can tie it in.
Yeah.
This spring or sooner
Okay.
rather than later. But the stuff we've done in the interim is we looked at it for library, fire, town
Senior
hall,
center.
senior center. So
Right.
there's been things that we've done, it's just, this is where we are.
like, we went out and got a grant to, when we were looking at raising it, so like, just kind of things that just delayed it as we got into it more. Like, to do all the transfer switches and everything we needed internally, there wasn't enough wall space within the existing equipment room. So it was like, one of those things, once we opened the can of worms, it just like,
Right.
it exploded. It was just, everything that we,
No, we've increased the electrical capacity of this building
Yeah.
significantly, and that's,
right.
it occurs to me that when the generator is most likely needed and you have a power outage, the police are gonna be pretty active and the need for electricity is high.
right. And so that, and then the existing does, that's what it serves, them and emergency lighting throughout the rest of the building.
And town hall is kind of the only water center 24 hours a day if you need
Yep.
it, if the town needs it. Okay, any more discussion on facilities? Do I have a motion to approve the facilities budget in the amount of $194,654?
So moved.
Second.
Lori moves, Guy seconds. Any more discussion? Vote, Guy,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes,
Lori,
Yes.
Peter,
Okay, yes.
Sarah votes yes. That's it for DPW, correct?
Unless you want to do water and sewer.
Operating account.
Oh, water and sewer, thank you.
Enterprise.
72 is sewer. It's not water and sewer, it's sewer and water.
order of operations.
So again, this is part of the union negotiations for salaries for both sewer and water when we get there, but everything else is fairly level budget.
Skilled labor went up quite a bit, or is that just the percentage? Is that just the normal percentage?
No, it's very an anomaly. That skilled labor has like been getting 5% every year.
Let's let him answer.
Chuck, can you remind us
I
again?
don't think it's that off base.
No. Well, you hire new people and then they go up the steps. And
Yeah,
that
so
steps
this is
is
just-
more than a COLA.
Is it one guy or is it a bunch of guys?
On the sewer side is 2. So there's,
So it could be
4.7%.
yeah, there's the chief operator, the assistant chief, and then 2
Oh,
skilled
3 years
laborers.
in a row.
So it's staff for 4 staff.
Chuck, can you remind us again, I know there's a whole bunch of trained skill levels, and we have Woodward and Curran, right?
That's water.
Nope, that's on the water.
That's
side.
water,
So
okay.
These are union town employees,
Okay, thanks.
all 4.
Why is the grade, the senior account clerk grade?
Yeah, when I was breaking out these salaries, I realized that one of my formulas was bringing in FY 26's salary number, not FY 27, so I updated it for this.
That's a manual.
Right, so that might be why skilled labor looks more, is because there's actually 2 of them. So if each of them gets a 2.5%, like the bottom line looks bigger, but they're not, it's not one person getting a $6,000 raise.
No, but it is 4.7%, not 2.5%.
Right. And so that would be associated with the steps.
And the electricity adjustment again, the reserve?
Yeah, we had originally taken that down, but then we realized sewer has its own funding source. So if we were to pay sewer electricity out of the general fund, so then we ended up putting it back. That's why it's green.
Now-
Significant.
This is significantly higher than the actual for 2025.
That was a Happy Hollow, I believe, right?
Yes.
So it's running closer to the 90,000 in 2026.
Mhm.
Electricity is not coming down.
Okay.
What's going on?
So that's the big push that the most electric intensive processes we have at the wastewater plant. We're trying to make those right size first of all, so they're not, over pumping, and then also trying to make them more efficient.
Any questions on the enterprise sewer budget?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, a broader brush question, our receivables are like quite a bit higher than the expenses. And what is being done with that money?
So that was a couple of years ago, we talked about the rate structure of the sewer. And so we're in this coming fiscal year, we will raise the rate again. That'll be year 3 of a 3-year plan. And that is to offset the bond when it comes due, because this has to be paid for 75% by the enterprise fund, which has to be on the rate. So we are, rather than do it all 25% in one swoop, we've done 7.5% over what will be a 3-year period.
So if we're saving it every year, we won't need a bond, we'll have the money.
It will pay the bond.
It's already
We'll
out.
pay the debt service, but not the total amount of the project.
Well, if we're netting 500,000 a year, and it's a $4 million job, that's not many years.
I don't think we're netting 500,000 a year.
Well,
We might
I mean,
have
I just-
500,000 in the enterprise.
I only had 2 years to go on, but 1 year was 1.3 million and 1 year was 500,000.
And also, as part of our ongoing capital,
Yeah.
our like ongoing annual maintenance, we usually take from whatever we've, received.
Right, but that would
Right.
be in the expenses, right?
But it's
Separate.
separate, it's separate from the operating.
Well, the capital budget, they sometimes allocate a portion out of the enterprise funds.
And
Yeah,
that has
which
been
is-
past practice, and that's what we're asking for again this year as well.
It is,
And that'll be under the capital part.
correct.
Chuck, just a more general question, is the amount of material that's moving through this plant pretty consistent year to year? Are you seeing it go up or down, or not like water?
We've been pretty stable since we've done most of the lining work. We are starting to see an uptick a little bit in what we anticipate is II in the system, but it's been actually pretty stable in between 400,000 and 500,000 gallons a day, on a 12-month average basis. Obviously, we do get storms, we see the uptick on a daily basis, but over a 12-month rolling average, we're pretty consistent.
Question, where do we stand versus capacity now? How's that trend been going and?
So our permit is for 670,000 gallons a day. The number I just gave away is about, we're between 400 and 500. I think, honestly, right now, I think we probably have 450.
Yeah,
So we're about 220,000 gallons a day below our permit.
2/3.
What's our permit amount?
670,000 gallons a day.
What's our plant capacity though? Is it more than that?
So right now, it's extremely oversized. I would
Yeah.
say like the average day capacity is like
1.2.
2.
Yeah.
So it's like almost double what we would
1.2 million.
Peak
see on peak.
5.2, I think.
Right. And so that's why we say, like, a lot of the project that we're doing is, right now we have 3 outrageously sized influent and effluent pumps that are sized to meet that peak of 5.3 MGD. Even at 1, which is a third of that 5.3, that's more than what we see on a regular day. And so, like, this is 24/7 operation, so like you can't make it work. So it's basically what happens is the pump is operating way out on its curve, which makes the pump wear and tear, cavitation, like there's just a whole downstream effect of that. So this project is right sizing all of that stuff.
So is that a reflection of the original basis of design just being flawed?
Yeah, so 25, 6, 7 years ago when they built the plant, there was no, II wasn't a thing that you worried about, you just sized the pumps for it. Now we went the other way, we have to take all that II out of the system, and so now all of our pumps that were sized for it are oversized.
Got
It's not isolated to us, like even Deer Island
it.
is oversized
Yeah.
for what they're seeing now in flows. So,
That's a good. It's just concerning that if the plant's only at half capacity, why it has so many odor problems still.
that actually.
That's actually
is
part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because everything's oversized for
Yeah.
we're putting in too much air into the aeration
Okay.
basins,
So, that's part of the
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Do you know where the I&I problems are generally are? I mean, I know,
Right
Basically
now,
just-
Tappan Street.
okay,
But yeah, we do know there's few.
'Cause I know you've done a lot of
problems.
work on,
We should do the pipes on tap.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe Bennett after.
Any more discussion on the sewer, enterprise sewer budget?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve the enterprise sewer budget in the amount of $1,429,588?
So moved.
Andy moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Carr seconds. Any more discussion?
I'm confused. I'm looking at the enterprise sewer and I'm
Exactly.
seeing 705,566.
So you did go on a second page.
Yeah, it's on a second.
I went down to the second page,
Yes.
sorry.
Oh, the
Sorry,
second
all right.
page.
Yeah.
Which are the sewer indirect
The
costs?
indirect
Yes,
are almost
yes.
50% of the actual.
Got it.
That's where it gets you.
And the capital listed on the second page. That's not in the capital budget. What is that capital line? On the second page, top.
Are you talking about the 200,000?
Yes.
Yes, so that's, I put that in there just to show the total amount of increased revenue So that, I'm taking 200,000 of revenue that I expect to come in next year. And then when you go to the capital, you see a column for the 200,000, and then also a column for 400,000 of retained earnings of money that we received previously. So I include this 200 there just so you can see what we expect for an increase in the sewer total.
So are we voting for that twice? Once in the
Kind of.
operating budget and once in the capital?
Kind of.
So can we take it out of this budget?
You good?
Is that what we wanna do?
I'd recommend.
Makes sense.
I'd take it out.
Yeah. I'm still a little confused why it's here, but that's right, but I
Because
would
she's
move
using
it.
it from current year's revenue rather than from,
Yeah, I got it in the
reserves,
enterprise
yeah.
fund.
okay, so, I will, do I have an amended motion
Yes,
to approve the sewer budget in the amount of 1,000,000?
229,588.
Yes,
So moved.
Andy moves, do I have a second?
Second.
40 seconds, any more discussion? Vote, Gar,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Water,
So here you see the skilled labor, we only have one in the water department, but again, subject to the same union negotiations for all three of the staff. This one, you'll see on the next page, I believe, the Woodard and Current contract, which I think you wanted to ask about. So that's where that's kept for the treatment plant operators. The distribution system guys are on the town staff. Everything else should be essentially level.
when is the Woodward and Kern contract up?
So the way we did that one was it's a 3-year contract with the ability to extend it to separate 3-year extensions. So it's essentially a 9-year contract. So I think we're in year 5.
At one point, we talked about contemplating bringing it in-house, and we decided not to do that because of the level of skills needed, is that correct?
Right. So it'll just be, it'll be very hard to us to get a chief operator and an assistant and be able to, maintain operations and maintain continuity. It's definitely still on my thought process, but it's definitely very premature to.
It's not really full-time work, though. They come in like 3 times a week, maybe? Or
No, they staff it 7 days a week. They do have, because it is a pretty high-tech plant, they have the ability to monitor off-site. And so that's actually something that needs to be approved by DEP and all those types of things. It is worth noting that when we do complete the treatment plant upgrades at Lincoln Street for the PFAS removal, DEP may, we don't know yet, require us to add a third person to the operations of the treatment system. So at that point, we would either need to pay Woodard Curran to provide that third person, or potentially we could try and find that person and have them be a town employee. So that would be my hope, and I think that might be the beginning of a transition over several year period.
Is that a different certification for the third person?
So they would still be the primary and the secondary, but we would need another staff person. So similar to what you see on the distribution side, we have the primary distribution operator, the secondary, and then we have a skilled laborer. So it's essentially the same thing. The skilled laborer on the water side has the license, but they don't have that role. So that's the difference.
will that plant have a storage for the hazmat of the activated carbon with the PFAS? Like, it's in the floodplain.
So when we decide to reactivate the carbon or take it offsite, it'll just be trucked offsite.
Yeah.
It won't be kept on site.
Okay, so when you change it out, it'll just go right out.
That's something,
That's gonna be an expense down the road that we don't have.
and that's something we'll contract out, and we'll handle soup to nuts, so
Yeah.
they'll bring it in, take it out, handle the disposal or recharge of it.
So could you talk to me a little bit about the expense changes? just some of the background here of the vehicle repairs and some different experience you're having?
Not 100% sure
I'm looking
what
underwater.
the difference is.
8,000 a year.
That's, so it's just zero.
Are you saying from actual to
Well, I'm
budgeted in
saying
the
the
previous
vehicle
years?
expenses. I mean-
8,000.
So it's just no percent change.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
not sure why.
It was
I highlighted
green.
why was it highlighted?
Those are
Because-
green because
That was one of the first revisions.
Ah.
Tony had changed,
I was
like,
looking
we
at the
had.
green as though that was a change. It's not.
215.
Yeah, okay,
Changed it back.
yeah. And the contract services that,
So that's the water and current.
got it.
So, like everything, the cost of employee, the cost of labor has increased, and so they're passing that on to us. So that's why it's been more than 2.5%.
Is it
It
part
is
of the,
negotiated based on the CPI.
is it part of the contract based on the CPI?
I'm curious if you are, there's a thing on the public radio, I think today or yesterday, about people not going into the water field. Are you feeling that, or do you anticipate that being an issue going forward in the?
It's an issue right now. We have a secondary operator by Water and Current who
Yep.
actually moved on. We went to Cambridge, so he's working at Cambridge now. So Water and Current is at an open rec out to hire that position for Manchester. They haven't been able to find somebody. So they've had to backfill that from other plants that they operate. So we have had the same coverage, but we do not have the dedicated person.
Interesting.
And what's causing that?
People aren't going into the field,
But
they're going into other stuff,
other stuff.
like whatever.
AI.
AI. Instead of water and
All the
sewer.
jobs will be eliminated.
Well, it's always this, what are we gonna be looking at in 5 years? Get in front of stuff like that, so.
So it is part of the current union negotiation, and it's something we already have in the existing one, is, having some of our guys on staff right now cross-train and get those licenses and get an extra, stipend or pay in their base pay. And then, to me, that's the bridge, but we haven't been able to really realize that yet.
It is the bridge.
Any more questions on the enterprise water budget, both pages?
And Andrea, the change in, say, something like group health insurance, that's a good, even though we don't know what those numbers are going to be, that we shouldn't hold this budget.
I would not.
It's a good note.
Yes.
Will you
So-
come back and adjust that number? Or you don't plan to adjust it?
Right now, I don't believe we'll need to change that
Okay.
number. If we do, I will come back to it.
That reflects the
I don't believe it.
15%
Yes.
we're at now.
Will the surplus between the expenses and billables go towards paying down the water meter bond?
Right,
Yes.
I think the excess
Yes.
right now is from the capital fee.
So I had my water meter replaced today,
Oh, you did, I
took
know.
him 10 minutes.
You're amazing.
You're efficient, $5,000.
They fly.
Mine took
They didn't bill you anything, they're billing me.
Took 1 minute.
20, but there
20
were
minutes.
two of them, and one was this far
Oh,
from
so
the
I only
platform
have-
on the
I only
stair.
have-
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but we're over 1,000 installs right now, so we're making pretty good progress.
Those guys are good.
No, they are very pleasant,
It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
positive.
yeah.
Any changes in consumption noted?
Not that we can tell yet.
Finding a lot of leaks though.
We are finding a
That
lot
people
of
swear up and down there's no leak.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Like, it's not the
Keep
meter
looking.
says, and lo and behold, they'll go check a toilet that they don't use or a hose bin
Outside
or
spigots,
you
We find them.
and yep.
Great.
So are you contacting people, or are they finding it in the app?
Sue is. Yeah, so Sue is, yeah.
It's actually been both ways. We have
Yeah.
people come in that
Yeah.
have signed up and have the app and say, it says I have a leak, and I know I don't have a leak, and then we'll go on and look, and, oh, you have a leak, and then they find it. And then, or the other way, some people, they're not responding, or, you know, they haven't called us yet, and I'm like, just so you know, you have a leak, you know, you might wanna check some toilets. So it's going both ways, but, I found several.
Okay.
Town hall and common.
Are we gonna approve it?
Oh, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the water department budget in the amount of $2,824,947.
$1,395,000. Sorry, the 2,000,008 is both sewer and water.
Oh,
Okay.
All right, let's not do that.
It got a little more expensive very
So-
quickly.
Yes.
Let me start over. I'll make a motion to approve the water budget in the amount of $1,149,838. Still not bad.
No,
It's the,
No.
1395.
it's the line above the 2.8.
359.
All right, somebody else
Sorry.
make the motion.
I move we do $1,395,359.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Maureen seconds. Any more discussion? Vote, Gar,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes. Okay, thank you guys for keeping me honest. Oh, okay. Town hall and common. Oh, I see, I'm in the section that you handed out, that's why this is out of order. Town hall and common.
Is that,
Expense, page 38 if you're in the big book.
is that part of DPW?
Not really.
I'm wondering if.
No, you're correct.
So don't we want to talk about maybe DPW capital?
Correct. Thank you, Maureen.
Sorry.
DPW capital. Long list.
Approved.
Now, one thing I wanted to get input from the finance committee on is with respect to the rotunda. I was at a CPC meeting, and they haven't voted, but they may have 250,000 cash this year to add to the rotunda project.
It might be 350.
I haven't gotten there yet. At a prior FinCom meeting, there were concerns raised regarding the 200,000 for the Affordable Housing Trust in the CPC budget. The Finance Committee suggested to Jack he should reduce it to the 60,000 minimum. The question I have is if the CPC and the Affordable Housing Trust were amenable to reducing the 200,000 to 100,000 and having that extra 100,000 go to the rotunda for 350 for the rotunda, is it likely the Finance Committee would support that 100,000 to the Affordable Housing Trust
Instead of the 60.
instead of
Yes.
60?
Yeah. they didn't want it.
I mean, is that something people, I mean, we have not been contrary, we have, for the past number of years, we've supported what the CPC has brought forward.
Right.
And we've run into this stumbling block over the Affordable Housing Trust, which I understand. And so one of the suggestions was that maybe they could do the 100,000 and put the extra 100 towards the rotunda, and so I thought I might just get a sense of the board to see.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Okay,
Sounds
okay.
Can you
So-
just remind me where we are then on the rotunda? Having all this discussion, I'm afraid I'm a little bit lost. So we have a previous 1.3,
Right,
now we have potentially 1.4.
3, no, we would have
another 350, 1.65.
Oh, 350, that's right, yes,
Which would reduce the amount of the bond.
to
And,
To 2 million.
2 million, thank you,
but then,
that's what I need.
when I looked at what you gave us, Andrea, on the debt payment stuff, it seemed like the full bond was not gonna kick in to the rotunda until fiscal year 28. The price goes up. I think one of the questions we have, particularly on the rotunda, is the timeline for the construction.
Yeah.
Because if the construction goes in beyond June 30th of 2027, and we don't bond it till the next fiscal year, that might give us the ability to get another cash donation from CPC if it's before we actually issue the bond, right, Andrea?
Right.
And so wondering what the timeline is on that construction.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we would be starting construction this fall, go through the winter, and be completed by Memorial Day of next year.
Yep.
I think if it's not completed, then you have access issues out to all those docks. So if that's something that is okay, then we can certainly, it could slide, I guess, depending on how, final payment could be after into the next fiscal year.
You could write in a condition to prioritize the access to the docks by a certain date and not the whole project. Yeah. I don't know how much that would add, but
Yeah.
From a contractor's perspective, time is money, so
Right.
they're not gonna wanna stick around
Right.
Okay.
May, June, and July
Right, just to,
just to bill us in July. I mean,
So,
we can certainly ask and something like that, but I don't think we could kind of dictate
yeah.
that.
so we just have to kind of see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, the contract end date currently in the specifications is Memorial Day of next year.
Okay. 27.
Yeah.
No, I can't leave it.
Is the permitting all complete for this?
That is actually one
Oh my
that's
God.
fully done.
And
Yep.
are we applying for any additional grants for the rotunda? Is there anything out
think-
there or not?
I don't think so.
Okay, okay.
Based on that timeline
Asked and answered.
Yep.
and the risk of going through another winter season.
Yep.
I don't think we have that.
Okay.
so
May
this
I
bond,
ask a question about the capital funding? Is that appropriate?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Andrea, this is how to read the graph. So I'm looking at FY '26, and I'm looking at funding sources, and I'm just not sure I understand the within 2.5 and the outside 2.5. What translate me?
Sure, so I was just kind of putting down what funding sources, and I haven't completely filled this out yet.
Yep.
But for any borrowings that we decide to, that can fit within our 2.5%, that would be that first line.
I see.
Most of
I
our
see, fitting
borrowings
it
are
within,
outside.
okay. But the chances of that are slim.
That's why it's blank.
Slim and very slim.
So I
Right.
think that, am I correct that if we go out with these projects, we would do an override for the appropriation, but it's possible that when we come to the final issuance of the bonds, we might have more money that will reduce the amount of bond we actually have to issue.
Yes.
We need the appropriation
Right.
for them to go out to bid,
Oh,
but then the actual amount we bond, we don't even know the exact cost of the projects.
yes, that's right.
Um,
Okay, that's the.
Yeah.
And with the culvert is we may, if we get MVP or a brick gets extended, we may never even touch that authority, that appropriation, right? So, but we're factoring, Andrea's factoring it in as if we did, just so you can
Yeah.
see the total
Yeah.
tax bill impact.
but so the bond, I mean, we had 1.3 million funded last year and it was just the million that fell through. But now the new bond is gonna be to replace that million plus another,
It
the
didn't fall.
inflation?
No, it didn't fall through. We still have 1.3, 800 from,
We
Uh,
But
voted
the
on-
CZM, it was supposed to be 2.3, but we lost 1 million.
No, the original budget
CZM.
was 3.6.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
3.6 and the 1.3 came off of that.
Okay, that was the CZM, the 1.3 that we lost,
I'm
the grant.
I'm not
Yeah.
following.
There's
Well-
a we applied for a CZM grant
Right.
and it fell through. Well, we had
And
two
that's why the
grants,
project
right?
Fall
We
through.
had-
We didn't get it.
Sorry,
We
we didn't
just
get it.
didn't get
Our hope fell through,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hope it fell through.
But like last year, we also had another grant that we applied for that, we knew we didn't get, but we were still waiting for this
That was the
CZM
one, the
grant, so-
Seaport
So
grant.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one that we went before town
We went
meeting
over
for
2
last
for one.
year.
Right,
And when we went before town meeting, and I forgot to bring it with me, I made it very clear, when we asked for that money for the rotunda, that we had lost one grant.
right.
We had another grant we were hoping for, but with the status of grants,
Right.
we were not assured that we actually would receive it.
Right.
And that's what's happened this year. We didn't receive
Right.
it.
But we still have the 800,000 from the general that we.
Correct.
And 500,000 from CPC.
Right, that's allocated towards this, and so that's why the appropriation is reduced by those amounts. And I
Okay.
think it would be reduced again if we got,
This, this,
are you gonna leave it at this because we don't know whether we'll get the CPC money?
I think this includes
This
the
includes-
CPC money at 350 for this year.
So the CPC really wanted to keep the 200,000, but they might reconsider it if it's to reduce the interest for the rotunda. But when we were looking at just last, they wanted to keep the 200,000. They didn't like our recommendation.
For what?
The housing to go to 60.
That is not what I heard on the CPC meeting.
That,
Yeah,
that-
no.
what Dean's referring to is prior to last night's meeting,
Okay.
so that
Yeah.
changed last night.
Last
Yeah,
night's
okay.
meeting, it was discussed.
Yeah, and they
And-
decided they
and-
would go. Right,
They didn't directly discuss it.
right,
But it was brought forward by a couple of people who are members of the Affordable Housing Trust,
yes.
who suggested maybe they could do it. The Affordable Housing Trust is meeting next Tuesday.
Okay. So, yeah, I
So we'll bring it before the Affordable Housing Trust next Tuesday, and then it'll be up for the CPC to decide
Mhm.
what they want to do.
I amended our CPC application from borrowing to an appropriation of 350.
Good, okay.
And we'll talk about it Monday night with the select board, but
Yeah.
I've sent it over to Jack just to make sure
Okay.
he saw it.
I think we're gonna have the meeting the 19th, but it might be the 26th.
Okay.
I think he said 26 today.
Okay, it's still the 26th.
So we've got a lot of DPW capital. Just saying. Is the fleet replacement required? What are we replacing? The
So it's
broken
actually
truck?
the director vehicle. Right now I share it with the wastewater guys, and
Yeah.
that's a point of contention, I will say.
Is there a schedule of vehicles? Last year, there were 23 that I thought on the schedule. Is that
Right there.
in here?
Oh, it's in
I can
his
forward-
slide.
I think there is,
31.
Is-
Okay.
so it's not 31, so I tried to parse out, like, a lot of those are trailers and like, things that are registered, like the
Yeah,
message boards, like those are on that list, that's part of the 31.
air compressor.
So those, I hope aren't held against me, but, so we have, 12 right now, called them normal duty, like the F-350 to 550, pickup, Explorer. So those are those. Then we have like the heavy duty stuff, that's for, moving material, moving snow, backhoe, front end loader, sidewalk tractors, all of those types of things, so. That's how you get to 31. So we have, and I think I counted 18 trucks, 12 of those are the normal duty, 6 of them are the heavy duty.
And where is that schedule? I don't see the
It's
schedule.
not in our packet,
It's up
it's on the
on the
screen.
So it's up on the screen.
And I'm
It
gonna
is-
read that?
We'll send it to you.
He's gonna send it
Would you
to
send
us.
it to me?
Yes.
And so, and
Tell us.
to be honest with you, like, you know, a lot of
Here it is.
our oldest pickups
No, no,
are,
no.
you know, right now, 2014. So that's, you know, getting up to 12, 13 years, which is 12 years is kind of a typical life cycle. So, you know, the coming years, the next 5 years, we're basically taking one of the old ones and replacing it in kind. So we're not looking to add to the fleet necessarily. Really this year, because the wastewater guys had a truck that we had to surplus, it wasn't serviceable. So that's,
So you're
that's where
adding
we're
a
at.
truck this year.
That'll be this year, so that would go from 12 to 13. But the wastewater guys right now have 0.
Chuck, we had fire in last week and they were talking about trying to get rid of the forest truck and pick up something you had. Is that consistent with your plan?
Yeah, so I talked to Jake about that, so I told him we'd figure it out, but we haven't quite sat down and.
All right.
You know, he hasn't tried to get one of the nice trucks from me.
He just wants a yellow truck.
He just wants to paint
He
it red.
provided a schedule which I thought was very useful of vehicles. That was the year of purchase
Yep.
and sort of where they were in their life cycle. Is that something that exists? That's it?
Right.
Okay. And 12 years is our normal cycle for most trucks? Yep, including the heavy-duty big ones.
And just the way it's worked out, like those are kind of the newer in the fleet, so we've done kind of the big heavy lifting trucks over the past 5-6 years.
And front-end loaders and,
Front end loader was actually this year, so that's been purchased, we're good for the next decade.
so there's
What was the little orange,
sidewalk plow?
The Kubota.
no, yeah, what was it?
That might have been hired equipment.
Might have been a
So
rental.
we had a fleet out of hired equipment.
It had like a
So
snow blower.
Yeah, a snow blower.
attachment.
That's all snow removal.
It went up and down my street, but it didn't do anything. I was really
I
disappointed.
waved at it. It went by.
So,
went
this is
down
not,
my street
has
and
nothing
it
to do with DPW, but I actually asked the 2 select board members whether it is the town policy that our employees should each have a truck. This sounds like a joke, but it's really not. When the truck is not required to carry, you know, equipment in the back and things like that, they would normally be driving their, you know, Chevy or whatever, a car, and they would do mileage. And I used to work at a bank, and I think I got 28 cents per mile when I was driving out to see a customer or something.
Gas must have been on there.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. But
70 cents a gallon now, or 70 cents a mile.
72 and a half cents.
But is it the town policy more or less that, you know, everybody gets a truck or?
So I mean,
I'm not, believe me, Chuck, I'm not trying to criticize you in any way here.
well, I would just say like, you know, like even myself personally, like if I go out of town for a conference or something like that, I'll typically just take my own car anyway, and
Yeah,
I'll get the mileage.
Sure.
But like in town for, you know, town operations, we have to have town trucks.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the lights, they have the, you know, for us anyway, the safety zones, it's all that kind of stuff.
I would say, simple answer, no, that we don't have a policy like that. Our fleet is usually sized to the operation and the needs.
okay.
Sometimes you do have to, you know, in the DPW sense, DPW is different, that, you know, they have to build a fleet that is gonna provide for us when we need all those trucks on the road.
Yeah.
Right, so their use varies differently than, say, police or fire.
So those great big trucks you plow with, are those used for anything else or just snow? Oh, they are,
Yeah, so we
hauling the snow.
hauling the snow for sure. You know, even in the summer, like we do beach cleaning every week, you know, they haul the seaweed, so stuff like that.
Or if you get a pipe break and you gotta haul
So
material.
that's what honestly they use the most, and that's what
Yeah.
the most needed, because we have to have access to those trucks to get the material to the site.
Chuck, does the 12-year life cycle change with whether or not you have a barn to put them under?
Right, so I'd say, you know, over the last 6 to 8 years, we've lost both of our cold storage, you know,
Yeah.
barn areas for those trucks, and we have, it's especially noticeable on the smaller equipment, believe it or not, like the sidewalk tractor. So we bought the brand new sidewalk tractor in 2018. I think it was my first town meeting. So that's 6-7 years old. Like we spend tens of thousands of dollars on that every year to keep it in service during winter operations because it sits out all summer and we can't use it. So like that's the MT is a little bit different because we have attachments that we can use that for brush clearing and stuff like that in the summer. So it gets used, but the other stuff just sits and rots. So that, we definitely are seeing more maintenance because of that.
Got it, thanks.
But yeah, we would expect more longevity with storing our vehicles inside.
By a factor of 25%?
think
I was
that's
trying
what
to
I've
get a
seen.
sense of what that,
Yeah, I think
what
that's
that
what the reports
impact
say.
is.
I mean, that
Thereabouts.
seems about right, because if we're anticipating 12 years and we're on year 8 or 9 of a thing that we put tens of thousands of dollars in, like that's kind of on par.
Can I comment on the general level? I'm not comfortable at all with borrowing 29.5 million in a bond in 1 year. We have made great strides in our piping program, and we're ahead of most towns in replacing pipe. And I think that we should prioritize the PFAS and not do both this year. I think that the pipes can be deferred for other years. We learned our lesson last year when we had Pleasant and Mill going at the same time. We felt like it was too much at once. And so I think we're doing it again. And it's kind of a slap in the face to Tappan Street residents to replace the pipes, because the real issue is when they put that housing project in, that retention basin doesn't work. And every storm, the backyards flood, and all the salt from the MBTA station goes all over our yards. So if you're gonna do nothing about that and replace pipes, it makes us think that you're more worried about keeping Grenice busy than helping the residents. So,
Can
yeah.
I respond to
No,
this? Is just
no,
absurd.
No, don't respond.
I'm a resident of that area.
You have,
And
then you have the right
The
to
flooding is atrocious, and why did you take out the floodgate and not put it back in?
I don't think I want
didn't.
us to discuss
Okay, well,
the
I'm just,
particulars
yeah,
of any project.
all right, I digress. The
yeah.
thing is, do we have to do full-scale pipes and PFAS together? Wouldn't it be logical to like concentrate on one and like
We
defer the
saw
other?
the map, Dean. I think we need to keep forging ahead on the pipe replacement.
We're ahead of most towns.
What's most towns? We're
Right.
talking about.
I just don't
Manchester.
agree with that either.
Yeah,
Like that's
okay.
just not true.
Well,
Most towns by
that
what?
was my.
Like 70% of most towns are over 100 years old.
Am I correct, Andrea, from what you sent us, which I don't have before me, that the full amount of this 29.5 million will not be borrowed in 1 year? Is that
Correct,
correct?
that's correct.
So that, what again were your numbers regarding the impact on the tax rate, and what years was this 29.5 hit?
I put in, so for like PFAS, for example,
Yeah,
I put in that it would be banned, like a portion of it just banned, right, so not the full.
in fiscal year 27,
Yep, and then rolled over again
28,
in 28,
okay,
and then fully borrowed in FY 29.
okay,
So then, if there's any other like funds, or if, the project comes in under budget, that'll significantly change these numbers, but the full tax impact would be expected in FY 29.
and what about Tappan Street, what was the timeline for that?
Tappan, I had a ban in FY 27 and then fully bonded in 28.
Could you help us with the amount of the ban in those cases?
So I have about 4 million for the first year.
What's the payment
The payment would be 150,000 estimate.
for 27,
Say that again, for,
fiscal year 27?
correct, yes.
Okay, 150,000, and fiscal year 28?
Would be 328,000 for like 9 to 10,000. 10 million.
I'd say no.
I If only if it was $10,000.
So it's not hitting us all in one tax year.
Correct.
And it looked to me like that schedule you gave us didn't have significant adverse impact on the tax rate, even though it's a debt exclusion rate.
I mean, it is, it kind of like ramps up for like 3 years, and then after that, it levels out.
I mean, if you wanna do pipes, I was thinking Bennett made more sense, cause isn't there low pressure
We're not litigating what their approach is, we're just talking about the
funds?
budget.
What do what
There's
can we
no,
cut out?
there's no pressure
Is it all or
problem,
nothing?
there's no pressure problem on Bennett. I can tell you, I have.
No, West Manchester, is Brookwood and Landmark, I mean, those things
They're out
are,
on Bridge, they're not Bennett Street.
but the line goes that way, right?
No, it goes through Bridge, doesn't it? Bennett's a little short
I
street.
thought,
Bennett has water and so does Bridge.
but I thought the Bennett Loop helps supply all of East Manchester, no?
Well,
West
it's redundant, but actually the work we did on Walker Road was more important to all of us.
Okay, so there's no operational benefit for Bennett either, okay. It's just maintenance to replace.
Right. So, I mean, let me just say a couple things. One is, I have no allegiance to any contract or anything else. I'm putting these projects forward because they need to get done. On the position of Tappan Street is, it needs water, sewer, and drain. So not just talking about the drain, not just talking about nothing. I have nothing to do with the MBTA or anything else, so I don't know what that's all about.
It's flood
Second of all,
protection.
I don't care. Second of all, I've never
You don't
touched,
care.
I've never touched the flood, anything on, that area. So
It was
I-
before
it's
you
all-
got here.
So yes, it's all something else.
It's an
We
illegal
went
connection.
to line the sewer there ahead of replacing the water main, when we thought it was just a water main project. That could not be done.
Yeah.
We need to make strides on the sewer system. We also know that we have a backlog of $40 million on the water system.
Yeah.
So we have to do both at the same time. It makes no sense to do one or the other. It just so happens on Tappan Street, we also have major drainage issues that I'm also trying to address.
Right.
And so that's how you go from a $300,000 sewer main job to a $4 million all-in water, sewer, drain, and roadway reconstruction.
But that
That is
drainage,
absolutely necessary, 100%, every single one. And now's the time, because we tried doing it last year and we didn't. We put it off last year. I also tried to do it in COVID, but we took away the capital money.
Yeah.
So that's why this project has become a 6-year project. And so, yeah, I could put any number of streets ahead of it on the list, but that doesn't solve the problem that is here and now on Tappan Street. And we've already done the design. So this is just construction dollars.
Well, and I think that what we have to remember is there are a lot of issues in town with flooding in various areas. The DPW's responsibility is water, sewer, and road drainage.
Yeah.
It's not fixing flooding problems in the town from other sources.
well, this is
So-
a separate thing of a specific project that has caused a lot of harm to our neighborhood. It's a separate issue, I'll address it separately.
Thank you.
And it is so, like, the Tappan is like a phase one of the drainage issues in that area.
But
So we
your
have-
drainage problem is just relocating a railroad ditch around private property. It doesn't make any sense.
But can we
Okay,
move on,
That's-
please?
we're not gonna discuss
What are
the
we
Tappan
talking
Street project
But that's
anymore.
phase one of what we need to do.
We're not discussing this
So can
anymore.
can I just make a comment here? So just going up 20,000 feet. We are all volunteers. We are brought to this committee because we look at this town through the lens of finances.
Right.
We all have our personal opinions about land and trees and water and everything else.
Right.
But our job sitting here is finance.
Yes.
And I have to restrain myself sometimes from going off the reservation. But it is about finance, and we trust the experts and the people we've hired in all these different departments. And I think Sarah's made this point multiple times. If we have issues, we should go to the meetings with selectmen and other folks where it's appropriate to deal with it there. But our role really is finance, and we
My
should stick
role
to
is
that.
to try to
meeting.
get some of that $4 million amount down, but, okay.
Well, I think that when we look, I mean, 26.2 million is a big, big number, no question about it. But when we look at the spreadsheet that Andrea gave us on the impact to the tax rate, which is really what our obligation is it's not overwhelming. And certain portions of this 26.2 million may never be bonded if we obtain money from other sources.
Right.
And I think that the problem is we need to appropriate it at town meeting so they can go out to bid.
Well, before we approve it, I really suggest we look at that 25-year bonding thing, because with Essex Elementary and the other things, we're gonna hit our capacity, and this is the one that they're,
We'll,
We need
I mean, we're gonna discuss capital on March 5th and March 12th. So
Okay.
we have loads of opportunity
Okay.
to discuss that aspect, and we will. Any questions for Chuck and Nate on these DPW capital projects?
Yes, I have one.
Go ahead, Peter.
Totally unrelated to all this stuff. Remind me, Chuck or Nate, what do, the DPW facility, what stage are we at now in that? Is this,
Right. So back when we first started doing this budget process, there was a chance that, you know, if we had spent the money that was appropriated for this fiscal year to further the design
design?
development for the
Yeah.
DPW facility on School Street or wherever really, then we would have needed the additional money to finish that design. We are not there yet, and we won't be there by town meeting, so that's why it's shown as requested but not recommended, because we're not ready to request it and spend it.
Thank you. Yep.
Any
I
other
don't have any
capital
other questions, I
comments?
think.
Question of Chuck on these capital items?
I just wanna know, on this vote, are we voting,
We're not voting.
we're not.
oh, no, voted for it, thank you.
We're not gonna vote on capital until
March.
March
Thank-
5th or 12th.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Yes.
Chairperson.
We're just trying to get input from the various departments
Okay.
now, and then we'll look at the entire capital budget and the impact on the tax. Okay. So I think we're done with DPW water sewer,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is town hall common and facilities.
Remind us, Sarah, what page that is? 30.
Town hall common 38. So these are expenses related to the ongoing operations of these facilities, is that correct?
This is for town hall.
For town hall.
Town hall and common,
Facilities you already voted on.
Right.
thank you,
Why isn't this part of facilities?
I don't know.
Yeah,
We've slowly moved things over.
I know.
So can we move this
Might
over
be.
next year?
This was
You guys
Greg,
want
this
another
was Greg's,
budget?
this was Greg's budget, so. It's up to you.
Let's call it.
Can we move this over to facilities next year, Tony?
Happy to do that.
Yes.
So is this, are we voting to spend $65,000? It's the electric bill for town hall,
Mhm.
All electric heat.
all electric, okay.
The new
And we-
HVAC
and we-
system that was
EV
supposed to save
chargers,
us money is
fan
not
chargers,
saving
yeah.
us money.
Chargers,
Right,
But it's a better
air
climate.
conditioning, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Incidentally, our
Flagpole
oil and
lights,
gas.
those are the-
oil, gas and diesel have gone down. Doesn't even affect.
It's good.
Okay. I move we do $71,900 for town hall and common.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is the amount budgeted for supplies enough? I mean, it was 8,000 in 2025, and we're going to 4,700 again? Or is that a one-time thing? maybe?
Those are one-time equipment.
We got the copiers.
Yes.
Okay.
Because everything else is under the departments.
So I'm sorry, so Andrea, remind us again, if we budget 65,000 for electricity and then we come in lower, which we haven't done, basically down to free cash again.
Yes.
Or do they
Or
get to spend
a
it
year-end
within the?
transfer.
Or it gets transferred in the last 2 weeks where.
Get space heater.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right, thanks.
under the desk.
So you made a motion, correct, Gar?
I did.
Do I have a
I
second?
I second it.
Andy seconds it. Oh, you'd already done that?
I had done that,
Thank
yeah.
you. Take a vote. Maury?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Gar?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. That's it. We're done with you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Be back.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Took a lot of arrows tonight.
Can we do land management?
Yeah, that's next.
Oh, yeah, school day, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is the operations and capital budget for land use, AKA land management, which is page 32.
Poor soul, been here the whole time.
It's okay. Doesn't take long. Good. We don't have a very large budget. This is the second year that we've had the combined land management budget, which includes, as you can see, planning, conservation, historic, and zoning. Pretty much close to 1,100 budget this year.
What are the professional services? That's gone up a significant amount.
Yeah, so the professional services, the planning board had $20,000 when they had a separate budget, which was used for the MBTA. We also used it for this past year for, because it's in our current budget for the downtown visioning and zoning that we worked on for, which we actually submitted today to the select board. It is been increased by 5,000 because Conservation Commission needs to have access to professional services to manage the beaver issue that they have. They have multiple what are called beaver deceivers throughout different wetland areas and ponds in town to maintain levels so that it kind of moderate, and hopefully prevent flooding, particularly of private properties. So that costs somewhere in $3,000 or $4,000 a year. Sometimes they need improvements, upgrades. So this year I know we need to upgrade some of the fencing. So just the standard maintenance is, like I said, around 3,000. So it might be closer to the 5,000 this year. So that's why that's gone up. That was balanced by last year we had a higher number for, I believe it was capital equipment, because we're going to be purchasing a plotter so that we can scan plans in and try and reduce our files, all the paper files that we have. So we'll be able to reduce the volumes of paper that is all over town hall, all around Seaside One. So that's where we're just moving those funds over. So
With the beaver dams,
mm-hmm.
we're only doing things that are on town property,
That's correct.
not on any of the properties owned by various nonprofits.
That's correct. As
Okay.
far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the expense we put into Tobacco Woods? What do we do?
I can answer this one.
Yeah.
Well, we don't, Manchester has an agreement with the town of Hamilton that we share the cost of upkeep of the Tobacco Trails and Woods area. And so they have a budget of $2,500
Yes.
and we're responsible for half of that. So at the
So
end of the year, they'll say, okay, we spent $500 and then, here's your invoice for $250. So that's kind of how that works.
So it's upkeep of the trails,
It is, yeah.
and which we share with them.
Yes.
We don't seem to spend it.
Yes.
Yeah, they've done a lot. They've had a lot of volunteers the last couple of years.
Okay.
Because I call over every year and I'm like, do we owe you anything? And they're like, no. So, they had someone out there with their own chainsaw the other day. So very nice for volunteers.
So any more questions on land management? No?
Thank you.
Do I have,
Just a question to you.
Yeah.
So on the ZBA filing fees, That would be revenue, not expense, right?
No, it's the cost to file the decisions with the Registry of Deeds. But the ZBA increased their fees to $1,000 to
Right,
make sure that it covers that cost. And actually ZBA's revenue exceeds its expenses, or at least it used to before it was
okay.
integrated into one budget. But
Recording decision.
the ZBA asked for 500 and the select board said, let's increase it to 1,000. And there's not been one complaint.
So the other thing, the CPC got a request, I guess it was from the Historic District Commission for 20,000 for professional services for the School Street survey. But I'm wondering is that kind of under land management? Would that, or is there a separate historic district
Well, so there is a historic district
commission?
commission as well as a historic commission, and so, so the,
It's a oh, no, it is
yeah,
part of it.
so the way the CPC runs is CPC can fund historic projects as
Right.
well as open space, recreation, et cetera. So they felt it was, since CPC, I believe, may have funded, oh no, they had a grant for the last thing that they, Mass Historic, but they wanted to go to CPC for this funding rather, because it's a one-time thing.
Yep.
And rather than put it into the operating.
Okay. But it's normally like kind of handled in this department.
Yes.
Well, we handle their administrative tasks, that's correct.
Do I have a motion to approve the land management budget in the amount of $277,680?
You do. You have such a motion.
I'll second.
Dean seconds. Any discussion? Take a vote. Carl?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Maury?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And Sarah votes yes. And there's no capital items.
No. Not this year. Maybe next.
So we're done with land use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move we adjourn.
A second.
I really would like to vote on some minutes.
Okay, let's get that done.
All right, good. That was good.
Madam Chair, also, just a quick recap
Yes.
on our schedule.
Yes.
So far, we've accomplished everything on the schedule except we skipped over Town Administrator Select Board.
Yep.
And we skipped over Veteran Services.
Yep.
Veteran Services is very simple and would take maybe a minute if you wanted to just knock one of those two off the list.
I'm thinking that at our February 19th meeting next week,
Mhm.
that's gonna be a really light meeting.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm suggesting that we start going through all of the town budgets in that meeting.
Okay.
And just kind of start at the beginning of the book and go through all of the town budgets, and I think we can run through those
Okay.
pretty quickly. And then if we don't complete them on the 19th, I think on the 26th when we meet with the school, that's not gonna be a heavy-duty meeting, and that we'll be able to finish the town budgets by then if we haven't. Is that acceptable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we have minutes from last week and then.
And the week before. So, on the minutes from January 29th, Jean had sent us comments last week. And
They don't have to be verbatim.
I agree with everything except for one clause that I'd like to be struck, and that is, when we were talking about Harbor, the Morse Pier and the Reed Park and that stuff, and you added in a section, the board discussion involved whether these were necessary expenses in a tight budget year, as they would appear to mitigate only 5 days per year when the existing docks reach capacity. Any vote was deferred to include with other capital considerations. I would like to strike as they would appear to mitigate only 5 days per year when the existing docks reach capacity, because I don't
It's
believe that's
hearsay.
based on data.
Right. That's based on observation. Okay.
The other ones I was okay with, did anybody else have an opinion?
I thought they were
They look fine to me.
They were fine.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the January
As
29th?
adjusted?
As amended,
As amended?
with Dean's comments and my changes to Dean's comments? Motion to approve the January 29th, 2026 minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Second. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next set of minutes. From January 5th, February 5th. Do people have a chance to look at those? They came very
Carefully.
recently. Were there any amendments?
Not amendments, but a general comment.
Yeah.
And again, this may be AI at work, and it looks like the minutes are very, very specific to the town employee presenting, but they don't always capture some of our debates.
Okay,
And I can't point to anything specific, but I know this group spent a fair amount of time talking about possible solutions of things going forward and other stuff. And it just wasn't in here, and I wouldn't hold these minutes
well,
up.
I'll relook at the minutes, because I really haven't had a chance to look, let me look at the minutes and
Yeah.
see if I come up with anything in that line.
I just felt like when we looked at minutes a few years ago, it might say, you know, Mr. Alderman commented on such and such, and the group had a discussion about, and a task was put forward for a town administrator to consider this in the future. And there's very little of that.
Okay.
It's mostly reporting on what was being presented to us.
Okay.
So,
And those are the minutes of 2/5?
last
Yeah.
week.
Last week.
Let me look at them again.
They came very recently.
Okay.
So our next meeting is on February 19th, that would be next Thursday. Where I've already posted the agenda, because of the Monday holiday, decided to get my act together. So it's assessor, building department, benefits, pension, property insurance, and town budgets.
Sounds gripping.
Anything else you have to add, Tony? Andrea? Anybody else have anything that the chair didn't consider?
No.
Nope.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.